the basic area formulas because you'll need this for the geometry unit for this week and next week. Or for last week and this week actually. Okay, so if we look at CC, you did number 2. So the area of a rectangle is always length times width. So let me write this in here for you guys. So if you don't know these, you probably want to write these down in your notes just so you have them, but it's length times width. So we can take any length, which is 7, times either of the widths, which is 3. So on this one, Cece got 21, very nice. And then she put meters squared, which is perfect. Since we have 2 dimensions when we're doing area, that's why we call it squared. We had to multiply 2 things, so it's squared. Very nice. All right, Dee, so you said 20, and I know you weren't sure. Dee, put your answer back up. It's okay, just keep it up. So Dee said 20, and the way to find the area of a circle, if you guys remember that the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So remember that area is always squared, so it can kind of help you think about this one. Well, if we look at this one, so would it be 3.14 for pi you're talking about? Yes, so pi, just so you guys know, and sometimes there's a pi button on your calculator, or it's perfectly acceptable if you just want to use the number 3.14 to represent pi. Okay, so pi is just the ratio of the circumference and the diameter, and that's how it actually came to be. But yeah, use 3.14, totally fine. So the biggest thing is to know then on a circle, what is the difference between a radius and a diameter? Does anybody know what the difference is and wants to type it in? Okay. The radius. Yeah, and you guys are really funny over there in the classroom, by the way. Rika Munn, yes. Yes, that's funny. You guys are funny. So Dee, yeah, what's your guess? So Michaela's defining what she thinks, oh, and Cece did too. The radius is half the diameter and the length. And Michaela, you erased it all so fast. I couldn't read it. And then Dee, did you want to add something to yours? Yeah, Michaela, you're too fast of an eraser. Too fast of an eraser. So let's go then and look at CC's, and then D is doing his calculation. So awesome. So the radius is half, and the diameter is the length of the full circle. So that's actually correct. And Michaela, you are on the right track. I think you just had it switched. But yes, so this 10 right here is actually the diameter. So if we want to know the radius, then you are exactly right. It would be half. So the radius is 5. So D, let's figure out how you did. All right, so this one you probably need a little bit of a calculator for, but if we plug in our numbers, we're going to take pi times 5 squared. Remember, you guys, order of operation, 5 squared, you got to do that first, exponents first, so you get 25 times pi, which, by the way, if you guys want to leave it like that, I'm fine with that too. It's a very exact answer that way. Otherwise, if you multiply it out, which maybe we'll see if D did that one, I think that you were very close, D. Yes, CC, good, 78.5. So I don't know if you were kind of doing that rough in your head, but you are closer than your other guess for sure, definitely closer. So the only thing is, remember you guys to do feet squared. So remember your units, really important when we're working in geometry to use your units. It helps with your number sense. You get a feel of how big something is. And then the other thing that's important is to make sure you say squared, because how do we know we're finding area versus volume versus just the dimensions of one line? All right, Dee, that was good that you made that effort. I appreciate that. You don't have to erase either, you and Michaela. Oh, Miss Scritchfield, funny, funny. First it's Mr. Munn, then it's Miss Scritchfield. And you can, of course, do it. Michaela, you don't have to type. Oh, was that you? Oh, Michaela, was that you that typed Miss Scritchfield? See, I thought it was Mr. Rico Munn who's in our class right now. Okay, so let's look at Israel. Sorry, Israel, I'm taking a while to get to you. Oh no, that is really her. No, it is me. Yeah, you guys are funny. You guys are very funny today. I've noticed. It's a very humorous day. All right, Israel, so let's see on yours, 81 inches squared. So you had the square, and that is exactly right. So the one thing that you guys know about a square, it's the same as a rectangle, length times width, but because the square has congruent sides all the way around, then we can just say, and we're going to use this later, that the area of a square is a side times a side, and they're exactly the same, so we can write that as s squared, which means 9 squared is 81, or 9 times 9 is 81, which is exactly what you got. All right, good job, you guys. So the only one we didn't really address was the triangle. Nobody chose the triangle. BRB. Oh, be right back. Oh, be right back. Oh, or Miss Scritchfield is doing number 8. There is no. Oh no, you're doing number 5. Oh, Miss Scritchfield is actually doing the triangle, you guys. So we'll see how well the English teacher does on the triangle. And boom. Okay, 1/2. Let's see what she did. 4 times 3. Oh, yes, she definitely rocked that one. She knew how to do the area of a triangle. So, thanks to Miss Scritchfield. We'll give her some kudos today. By the way, Miss Scritchfield, that was actually Miss Jaqua the other day in your webinar. And then, of course, I had to respond because I was getting all the accusations. Okay, so here we have length times height divided by 2. The key, there's a difference though between Notepad 1 and Notepad 5. So Miss Scritchfield did this correct. She did length times the width, and then she divided it by 2. So she did 3 times 4 to get 12, divided that by 2 to get 6 inches squared. But the reason she was able to use this side of the triangle, if you guys remember, and it wasn't marked, but this is a right triangle. So in a right triangle, that leg is the height. It's vertical, but sometimes we don't always have right triangles. We have scalene or isosceles. So you have to be careful to make sure to use the height. Now let me just ask you guys this before we move on, real quick. Which number, if I use 13 for my base, and you guys can type it, which number would I use for my height then, the 8 or the 6? Which one would I use? Ah, very good, very good. The 6. All right, so Cece has answered. Does anyone have any thoughts about that or questions or confusions before we get to our lesson? D, Israel, are you guys good? Michaela? Okay. Cece, I know that you meant nope. Okay, so D, you're good? All right. Okay, so yeah, so we would use 6, so we'll just finish this out. So we would do 13 times 6, and then we would divide that by 2. So we would have 78 divided by 2, which would be 39 centimeters squared. All right, you guys, so that is your review of basic area. So again, like Dee, you said you forgot how to find the area of a circle, so make sure, keep that in your notes. Pi r squared. I think you guys are good on squares, right? It's still length times width, but we can call that, you know, either L squared, W squared, S squared, because the sides are all the same. Triangle is base times height divided by 2. All right? All right. So what are we doing today? What we're going to do, coincidentally, because we are doing areas, we're actually going to solve for missing measures using area formulas. So it's really important that you know those formulas up front. So we're going to solve for things like, what is the side given an area, or what is the radius given an area. So I'm going to run through 3 examples with you guys, and then we're going to finish it off with, you're going to try one based on what notepad you're in. And if you are super fast and you want to try one that hasn't been done in a different notepad that somebody's not in, you're more than welcome. All right, you guys, so before we move into those, think about this. Make sure you guys are working on math every day. Some of you guys aren't, and this is week 5, and there's only 8 weeks. So if you are behind, think about your time, you guys. There's only 3 weeks left until we're done, and if you are not in week 5, if you're in week 2, well, that puts you pretty far behind. So the other thing is you have to allocate time to get help from me. Oh, good, Michaela, I'm glad you're back. Very nice. So if you guys are struggling, please send me a message, call me, text me. That works really well. Or plan to just meet me. If something's frustrating, you don't understand it, just send me a message and we can work out a time to meet. But if you just keep going and you just keep going and you're not doing more and you're blowing it off, then your fate will be sealed at the end of the quarter and you will be sad. I'll be sad for you. All right. Okay, that was my weekly webinar lecture for you guys. Let us start then. All right, so I'm going to walk through these 3 examples. Be really good for you guys to write them down, and then you can refer to them when you are doing your own. Okay? Because now you guys are in Core 1, and you've probably seen a lot of geometry back in 8th grade and 7th grade. So this kind of expands it and takes it to a little bit of a different level. And one thing for me with geometry, it's very visual, so it helps me sometimes if I make a drawing of this and then I can figure it out, especially with this first one. So it says, find the area of a rectangle. So here's what we're looking for. We're looking for area. And right away, our brain should be thinking of strategies. Okay, if I need area, then I need to know the length and the width because it's a rectangle. So find the area of a rectangle. If the perimeter is 30 centimeters and we know the length is 4 centimeters. So it's kind of tricky, right? Because I have length, but I don't have width. So again, what I usually like to start with then is a square. So I'm gonna draw you guys a perfect square here. Or a rectangle, I should say. We're doing a rectangle. So here is my rectangle. And I'm just going to label the things I know. Okay, so when you guys get stuck on any geometry problem, the best strategy is make a picture, label things that you know. Well, I know the length is 4, so I can put that here. And then you want to infer, well, if I know that length is 4, then I know the top length has to be 4 too because these sides are the same. So mark things that you know that are the same. This is going to be important when we start doing angles and solving for missing angles too. Okay, what else do we know? We know that the perimeter is 30. Well, okay, that means you have to know what perimeter is. Well, perimeter, does anyone know what perimeter is? Oh, Cece, did you already put your answer? Did you find the area, Cece, or you found the length of the sides, perhaps? Ah, yes. So, very good thinking, very good thinking. I think you might be correct, actually. So, Cece understands perimeter just because I think she was able to figure out the sides. You're right. You're exactly right. That is the perimeter, adding up all the sides. Good. So perimeter is distance around. So if I take this side plus this side plus this side plus this side, I should get 30. Well, here's another thing I know. I know that these two ends right here, and on this side too, I know those have to be the same. Okay? So if I think about it logically, I've already used 4 plus 4. I've already used 8. So if I start with my 30 and I subtract my 8, that leaves 22 units left over to split between these two ends. And obviously I didn't mark this to scale because if I'd known I would have put the 4s on the other sides, but it doesn't matter, it's just a rough sketch. So I have to break this 22 into 2 equal pieces, and so I could divide by 2 and I would get 11. So that means that each of these sides has to be 11. So think about that work that I had to go through in order to actually figure out my area. All right, so D, if you're there, what's my area now? What is the area of the rectangle? D, this is for you. Are you there, D? Oh, good. Yes, that's positive, very positive. What's the area then? And if you don't have a calculator and you need one, you can just type to me what you would multiply to find the area. Hello, Dee. We're waiting for you. What are you doing? You're using, what are you using? Do you have your answer? No. Okay, just type for me what you would multiply to get the answer. What would you multiply together? So, Dee, did you write down how to find the area of a rectangle? Okay. Let me ask you this last question. Do you know how to find the area of a rectangle then? Are you leaving a yes there, Dee, or no? Yes? Okay. How do you find the area then? What would you multiply to find the area of a rectangle? Gotta give me something, Dee. Okay, Dee, so I'm gonna assume you might need some help. So, Michaela, do you want to help Dee? Do you know what you would multiply to find the area of this rectangle? Okay. All right, so Michaela, let me ask you, do you know what the area of a rectangle, or what is the formula for the area of a rectangle? How would you find the area of a rectangle? Hmm. So it sounds like maybe I need to go back and you guys can write down some formulas, perhaps. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Here is a rectangle, right? So if you have your rectangle, oh sorry, Dee, I didn't know if you were working on it. Oh, you were lost. That's so nice, Miss Doran. It's very nice. Okay, so you guys write down D, very good. Length times width. I like that you are taking responsibility for your problem. Very nice. Okay, do you want me to go back? Okay, so area of a rectangle, length times width. All right, D, so it's up to you now. You got this. All right, Michaela, no multitasking because you could be the phone a friend, and if D was relying on you, we'd be letting him down. Yes, very good. Yay! Way to go, D. Way to go. That is exactly right. It would be 4 times 11. Oh, blame it on Miss Geyer. Michaela. She's okay. All right, so you're right. So D, nice job. I like how you came back and you did it. So the area is 4 times 11. Good job. Now, do you guys see where that is just something you got to know right away, right? Because the heart of this problem is coming up with the side links so that you can actually calculate the area. All right. So if you guys need to write the problem down, because this is like your hint, you're going to have one when you have your own notepad. So one exactly like this. So remember how this problem started. You need to find the area, but the only thing that's given was perimeter and length. So you had to use the perimeter in order to help you find the missing links. And again, you guys make an image if you can. Okay, we're going to move on to the second example. So on this one, we have find the radius of a circle if the area is 16 pi. Okay, so we're given the area, we don't know the radius. Again, we could draw an image of this, except that we don't have any specific detail. So here's another strategy. If you're given something like area, well, then write the area formula down. And you guys, hint, hint, if you did not write the area formula down, now is a really good time to do that. So what you can do is you can write pi r squared. That's your area, right? That's the formula for area. So I'm just replacing area with the actual formula. So pi r squared equals 16 pi. That's what I know. Okay? All right, you guys. So here's where you're going to have to use some of your algebra. All I want to do is find the radius. This is what it says, right? It says find the radius. So I'm going over here. I'm going to highlight radius. I need to find the radius. Well, in order to do that, I need to isolate the y. Okay, so I'm going to divide both sides by pi. Now I know pi is a number and it always seems strange when you guys divide by pi, but whatever number it is, if I divide by it, it's going to turn into 1. Remember that whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So ultimately, these pi's can cancel because they turn into 1. Pi divided by pi is just 1. And I'm left with r squared on the left. And think about what's going to happen here also. Pi divided by pi cancel. And I'm left with 16. Okay, now here's your question for you guys. What do I do to undo a square? What do I have to do to undo a square? Like to undo addition, we do subtraction. To undo subtraction, we do addition. To undo multiplication, we undo division, and back and forth. So who knows how we undo a square? All right, so Cece is making her guess. Anybody else have a guess? And think about this. You guys actually have done this when you found the distance from a triangle when you use Pythagorean theorem. In order to actually find that distance, you had to undo the square. So you did it and probably didn't think about it. But is Cece my only guesser? Michaela, Israel, why are you erasing your name? Don't erase your name. You agree? Okay. Israel, Michaela, you guys, any ideas? Any ideas? No. Okay, so we got 3 divides. All right, now you guys, I'm really glad you guys made it a guess, and that's a pretty logical guess considering when you think of squared and you undo divide. But division undoes multiplication. So for example, if you have 2 times x equals 10, in order to undo this multiplication, you would divide by 2. So that's when you use division. In fact, that's what I used with the pi's. I used division. So unfortunately, you guys, division is a good guess. It's actually a very logical guess, but it is not actually correct. So to undo a square, what you have to do is take the square root. Hopefully that sounds familiar for you guys. So I just need to take the square root of the left side, and if I do that, then I have to take the square root of the right side. So here's what it looks like. This square root undoes the square, so these end up canceling, and I'm left with r. The square root of 16, so what I'm saying to myself is what times what is 16? It has to be 2 of the same number, so that would be 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, so you guys, square root undoes the square. So hopefully you remember that from your past life. All right, so we have two kind of problem-solving type problems where you have to work backwards to figure out things. Here's our last example before you're going to try your own, and you must try it. You cannot get out of it. Okay, last one. We want to find the side length of a square if the area is equal to 25 inches squared. All right, Israel. Oh, Michaela, what test? What test? What test do you have to go take, Michaela? In fact, maybe if it's for another teacher, just tell them 5 more minutes because this is our last example, and then you can just do your problem really fast. How about that? Okay. So I'll finish this off fast, and then you can do your example, and then you can go. So if you get checked by me, then you can go. How about that? Okay. So remember, you guys, find the side length of a square if the area is this. So this is going to be just like number 2. We need to write what the area is. Remember that we said the area of a square, if we go back, is just s squared, right? Or s times s. So if I use s squared, because now I know how to deal with my squareds, I can say that the side squared is equal to 25. And just like in the top example, the way that we undo the square is by taking the square root. So think about those have names in common, square and then square root. So the square root and the square cancel each other out, and I'm left with just s. And then the square root of 25, in other words, what times what, same numbers are 25, would be 5. So the side is 5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to assume right now you guys are ready to give your own problem a try. So has everybody written this down and they know what to do? Or if there's any questions, type them now. Type them now. Cece, is that a yes, you're ready? Like I'm ready, Miss Elliott? Yes. Okay, good. All right, D, let's. All right, you're ready to go. I like that, positive. Michaela, I know you're ready. All right, Israel, you're the only one I haven't heard from. Are you good, Israel? Are you ready to go? Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, you guys are all ready. Here you go. So, sorry. So you guys, go ahead in your notepads. See if you can solve the problem in your notepad. And here's what I would say. If you're like, whoa, really confused, write down, the information you have to start with and kind of think about it and use some strategy, and you have to come up with something. So that's my rule. It doesn't have to be correct, but you have to come up with something. All right, I'm letting you guys work. And then we'll go through them. That's okay, Michaela. Do your best. So write it down. Look back at the circle one we did and see if you can figure it out. All right, Cece, let me see how you did because it looks like you're already done. So find the area for 8, that'd be 12, that'd be 6. All right, Cece, I'm going to go through yours since it looks like you might be done. All right, I'm going to make a rectangle for you here. Here is your rectangle. Okay, so the width is 4. Is this the same numbers I used already? So we know that's going to be 4. So that's going to leave 20 minus 8, which is 12. Oh, not exactly the same numbers. So that leaves 6 and 6, which means that the area is going to be 24 meters squared. Yay, Cece, good job. You got it. All right, Cece, I'll leave this up to you. Do you want to try either notepads 1 or 4, or do you feel comfortable with our discussion? Okay, perfect. Yes, go ahead and do those and then I'll look at yours too. All right, good. All right, Israel, let's look at Israel because you are done. So Israel, the area is 49 centimeters and we said that area was S squared. So if we set that equal to 49, and then you take the square root to undo the square. Square root of 49 is, in fact, oh, Israel, nice job. You got that one right on. 7 centimeters. Just don't forget your units. But excellent job on that one. Good. Well, Israel, do you want to get Michaela started? Like you could set up the equation for her. How do you feel about that one? Israel, do you want to do that, or are you not comfortable doing that, or no? Is that you, Israel? Is that Michaela typing? Oh, Michaela. Okay, good. All right, Michaela, good. You're making an effort, so good. So, okay. All right, so Michaela, you're on the right track. You have area equals. So remember what the area of a circle is? Let me show you. I'm gonna go back for just a second. Sorry, you guys, excuse me. The area of a circle is pi times r squared. So Michaela, work with that one. Let me go check on D while you're looking at that. So find the radius of the circle. Oh, D, very nice. So actually, Michaela, if you look at this one, this will help you because D had the same one, just different numbers. So area is equal to, just like we said, pi times r squared. So if I put that there in place of area, then all I need to do is solve for r. So the way we did that is we said, okay, well, we need to get rid of the pi, so I'm going to divide both sides by pi, and those cancel, these cancel, and then what I'm left with is r squared equals 25, which is a lot like Notepad 6 over here. In order to solve that, I need to undo the square. So I'm going to take the square root. These then cancel, and I'm left with r equals 5. The square root of 25 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So D, nice job on that one. And then just remember your units. So 5 feet. We just want to say 5 feet. Very good. And so Michaela, does that help you with that one? Okay, so give it a try. Set up the equation like I did and see what you can do. And then I'm going to look at CC. So she did number 1. And CC, that is good because the area is s squared, which is equal to 4. And then you undid the square by taking the square root. So those disappeared and you were left with s, and the square root of 4 is 2 centimeters. So nice job on number 1. CC, very good. And then let's look at your number 4. So again, we have one of those rectangle ones. And the width was 1, so these are each 1. If we take 2 then, because 1 each, away from 20, I guess I kept using 20, you'd get 18, and if we cut that in half, we would use 9 here and 9 here. So awesome job. You said that the area is equal to 9 meters squared, and you are exactly right, Cece. Very nice job today. Yay. Hey, well, Cece, since I think you have it down, you look good. If you just want to, I'll let you actually go. So I'll show you while Michaela's checking hers out. For your ticket out, just go into Schoology and post, same thing as last time. write one thing you learned and something that you have a question about. And then check back later for to post to somebody else's. So you are good, Cece. Nice job. You can leave unless you want to hang out. Bye, Cece. Been working hard. Keep it up. All right, Michaela, you're getting 3. Okay, so let's look at yours. Oh, 3 is correct. Yeah, oh, I see. You put area equals 3 question mark. Oh, I thought that you were talking about something else. Michaela, I think you are good too because the area is pi r squared, and that equals 9 pi. And if we solve for r, then we have to divide both sides by pi to get rid of that pi. They both cancel out, and so you end up with r squared equals 9. And in order to undo the squared, you took the square root. Those cancel, and r equals 3. 3 feet. Michaela, you are good. Very nice. Way to go. You guys, awesome job. So everybody got their notepads. Nobody got it wrong. Way to go. So yeah, so Michaela, you are all clear. So you guys just make sure that you go in because then when I put in your grades for all these at the end, that can help you guys. So don't forget about the discussion. Really important. All you have to do is write one thing you learned. It could be anything. Comment on somebody else's, and then make sure you also one thing you learned, one thing you have a question about. All right, any parting thoughts? You guys are good? All right. Bye, guys. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming. Good luck on your test, Michaela. Bye, Israel. Bye, Dee. Cece's gone. See you guys.